Hello, my name's Lise. Welcome everyone to my Viking Season 6 review, everybody. And I gotta say this. Viking Season 6 is by far the worst season of Vikings. One, because it's a setup season. This season, Season 6, Part A, is setting up for the final part in Season 5B, and Season 6B. In Season 6A, a lot of characters are just sidelined. I mean, this was Lacta's farewell season. But this season mostly resolved around Lacta, her death, and the consequences after her death, and the fall of Bjorn Ironside as a king. Now, the first, and I believe this season had a terrible pacing issue. I mean, the first two episodes were good, but they aired on the same day. If you were to balance out week by week, I think this show would have been better off for the premiere to have the first episode and that was it, and the next week's episode we build up more with some new characters. I believe this season was barely it was a weird pace this season. The first couple episodes, like the first 3 to 4 episodes, were entertaining, and then around like the fifth episode, it was like the slowest episode by far, and it kind of derailed the series. And after episode 6, after the death of Agatha, we knew everything that was going to happen. We knew her burial was going to take an episode. We knew a revenge one was going to set up, and we also had like 2 episodes devoted to the invasion of Scandinavia by the Rus Vikings. So to me, this season is the worst, but I will be giving my reasons as to why. Let's do with the characters storylines. Let's start off with some side characters. A side character in this season is none other than Bjorn Ironside, the main character. His arc throughout this entire 2 episodes is basically he's questioning himself as king. He questioning himself whether he wants to be a king. He answers King Harold's call because King Harold saved him last season. So he's like, I'm gonna help King Harold. He's being imprisoned. I'm gonna go rescue him. The rescue mission fails. It turns out King Harold and Bjorn will now have an election of who will be the first king of all Norway. And for some odd reason, the writer, Michael Hirsch, or the writers, decide to create more conflict between Bjorn Ironside and King Harold of having an election. And for some odd reason, they went with the storyline that Bjorn wants the throne of Norway, wants to be king of all Norway. And basically, Harold rigs the election, he gets elected, and Bjorn doesn't really acknowledge him all too much as king, and Harold all of a sudden wants to kill Bjorn, the man who was coming to his rescue to save him. They were really screwing up the relationship between Bjorn and Harold. Maybe they just did that. Harold was always jealous of Bjorn, that how he was famous, and most people want to flock to him. But to me, there was a lot of backtracking with both characters. I mean, they literally have the last episode of Harold so jealous of Bjorn that he rapes one of Bjorn's wives, allegedly. Because again, I don't trust this show to not actually show the rape until someone actually admits it. I don't know if he raped her or not, but they try to create this conflict in the show, which didn't need to be between Bjorn and Harold. They already had conflict with each other previously, but they kind of let it all go when Harold nearly died saving Bjorn in Season 5 being the finale. And this one, he's angry at Bjorn because he challenged him in a forced election. I just didn't like a lot what they did with Bjorn's character and Harold's relationship in Season 6A. I think this entire plot line of having Bjorn as king of all Norway kind of derailed his character because again how we were setting up is like Bjorn, even though he's king of Kattegat, he's just basically doesn't want to be there. He's just constantly doubting himself whether or not he's going to be a good king. He's constantly doubting himself whether he's going to be a good leader. And the fact is that we get him with kind of wanting to be king of all Norway kind of didn't make no sense because again we have his wife Gunhild who's just talking to him about you're happy you're here. He's like, of course I am, but you can see Bjorn doesn't like to stay still. I think Bjorn Ironside still wants to travel, and that's what we were seeing for the most part. But then all of a sudden he's have an issue with Harold because king of all Norway and all that stuff. To me, I'd rather have an entire storyline where Bjorn and Harold were put into the situation to get elected, and Bjorn would have casted his lot for King Harold. And then they would just mutually go to separate ways, and they would be on each other's side. We didn't need extra conflict before the Rus attacked. But, and again, that's my personal opinion about the relationship between Bjorn and Harold this season. Speaking of things they kind of like to drag around with Bjorn's character, Bjorn can't handle having one wife. He needs to have multiple. They do the storyline again. The first two episodes were solid, and then you see that Bjorn is getting tempted by this one slave girl who wants to bed him, and it looks like he's resisting. And it looks like he takes it off his belt. I still didn't believe he was had sex with her at the end. I believe he resisted her, but no, we go to the track that again Bjorn sleeps with multiple women. He has a new wife. We have an episode 9 which devotes to him just marrying another woman with Gunhild's permission, and now he feels again that he's not worthy of her, which he's not. And again, the fact that Bjorn took another woman kind of neglects every single conversation, meaningful conversation he had with Gunhild in season 5B. This season, to me, season 6, kind of not ruins Bjorn's character in some ways, but it just keeps going to that track that Bjorn's always going to sleep with multiple women. He's never going to be tied down to anybody. I swear, after that first wife, he just had a trust issue and he just doesn't care no more. I mean, he gives his heart to women, but then again, he gives his heart to all women along with his penis. So I don't really care that this love triangle with Bjorn and his two wives now. And again, if this was the way Gunhild's character was going to be she should just went with King Harold. At least he would appreciate her. And before people say, well, he raped one of Bjorn's wives, I'm like, here's the thing. They added that in one episode that he raped Bjorn's wife. But to me, I don't know. Like, just to add this part to Bjorn, it was not necessary. It's just like we knew he sleeps with a lot of women. We knew he's a cheater. It had to be with he cheated on Gunhild. The one day we're progressing that he loves her, and he's afraid that she doesn't love him. This kind of was a new thing for Bjorn that we were seeing with Gunhild, but now, not so much no more. Now let's talk about one of my favorite characters, Ube. My favorite son of Ragnar right now. I loved his story arc in season 5 being season 6. The first episode, he's on Bjorn's side. He's his right-hand man. He's going to help him with every way he can. And he's helping his family, Lagertha. He's helping raise Torvi and Bjorn's children with Torvi. He's basically the best side of Ragnar. And the thing is, though, what's happening around with his character this season is that the second episode, he meets Flatnose. Yes, Flatnose returns, and he wants to travel to Iceland to find this new land that this wanderer once known about. So he wants to do that, and that's good and all. But the problem is, though, since Bjorn goes over to King Harold, someone needs to watch over Kattegat. Lagertha's farming, and Ube is asked by Bjorn to watch over Kattegat. So for all this time, when Bjorn is gone for like 8 episodes, Ube has to stay there with Torvi because he has personal responsibilities. So he has to take care of Kattegat. He has to watch over his drug addict of a brother, and he has to take care of the people of Kattegat while Bjorn's away. So Ube's the guy that you put on hold. You put him off the bench. This guy was an all-star, but then when the all-star leaves, then you put him on the bench again. Like, he's basically just, when you want to look for someone who's responsible to do something, it's Ube. And since Ube's with Torvi, Torvi's now stuck with Ube in Kattegat. It's just kind of derails the character a bit, and since Bjorn is stuck over there doing his own thing, Ube's not now forced to do something that he doesn't want to do. So during this time, we see Ube being a reluctant leader, and a lot of people, including a lot of fans and myself, agree that Ube's a great king in a sense. He's a good leader and all that stuff. So I enjoy what we were getting with Ube and Torvi leading. But the problem is, though, it kind of derailed from the much larger story we want to see, especially in Season 6B that we're seeing him now traveling and meeting Native Americans. It's quite interesting. But Season 6A kind of derailed Ube's character. It just puts him in... It's like put him like back a couple yards. He just stays in one place, and he's just stuck doing something that he doesn't want to do, and we don't want to see him doing what he wants to do. We want to see him succeed and do his own thing, but since he stays here, he has to be stuck here. So Ube this season was just sidelined during this season as well. Now, you know how I mentioned how Ube's stuck in Kattegat taking care of his drug addicted brother? Well, Vincent becomes a drug addict. He's so obsessed with finding Arivar and all that stuff. He drinks, he's traumatized that his girlfriend was burned alive. He just drinks constantly, eat mushrooms. So much so that he even gives up his sacred arm ring that his own father gave to him in order to get his drugs. He hallucinates the seer, talking to him, and he thinks you're going to fulfill your destiny. Ultimately, he fulfills his destiny because he kills Lagatha by accident, thinking she was Ivar. And the writers made not only a bold choice with him killing Lagatha, but also how he's changed completely because he's now has no desire to kill Ivar in a sense. The writers could always change their mind, but Vitek keeps flip flopping with like for so many episodes, just seeing him a drug that we feel sorry for him. He kills Lagatha, we feel sorry that he killed Lagatha. He feels sorry that he killed Lagatha. And next episode, he's with Ivar, no longer assumed by vengeance for him, and now he just wants to take place in all madness, and he wants equal destruction for everything right now. So they kind of went with he's just a lost soul, and the writers are lost with him, and we're all lost with him. We feel bad for him, and in my opinion, I still wish he's going to turn on Ivar. I still hope that he kind of turns on Ivar, or kind of breaks his heart. But Vitek, the character, feel bad for him, but I honestly don't know where his character's going. I think he's going to die. Season 6B, he should die if all the other sons of Ragnar. If Bjorn's not dying, if Bjorn's dying, then Vitek got to die. So yeah, everyone, Vitek's character, let's just say it's a depressing turn. It's like the drug addict version we got in season 4B of Ragnar. No one wants to see the drug addict just going through the slope. No one wants to see that. Season 6 with Ivar, I have a mixed feeling with. One, I get that this is a slow pace for Ivar, and he's slowly building up his army again and his strategy. He goes to Russia to meet Prince Oleg, and basically he sneakily convinces him to invade Scandinavia to march against Bjorn and to take over them with the Russian Christian army. Even though that's not historically accurate, this is History Channel. Stop complaining, people, about that. The thing is, though, with Ivar's thing with Oleg, again, the season has pacing problems stemmed from like the first premiere. The first episode, we get Oleg and Ivar, how they meet, how they communicate with each other, and then the second episode, we get more into Oleg's past with Ivar. And then later on, it's just there's no more really good interactions with them. It's just basically Ivar's manipulating Igor, who is the true heir in Russia, and he sort of bonds with this young kid. But the problem is, though, Ivar, like, with Oleg especially, he's, like, disturbed by Oleg's brutality and his monstrous ways. This is coming from the guy who burned people alive, tortured people, killed his own brother. I was tired of seeing the shocked face of Ivar's face. I believed he should have had something crazy about it. I say the only true thing that Ivar hasn't truly done specifically is murder children. So I really like his relationship with Igor, the young kid, and all this stuff. But how they were managing his character with Prince Oleg, it was kind of on and off. I mean, they really just make it how Ivar is seeing his dead wife around. He doesn't know if he's crazy or not. Ivar's just a side character to a story. It's a long pace. It's a very long pace for him to invade Scandinavia, but to me, they would do that in episode 1, where like I ordered the construction of a fleet to invade Scandinavia. They revealed that in episode 1. They should have paced it out for like 2-3 more episodes. In the 4th episode, he agrees to do that, but immediately they decide, hey, we're gonna invade Scandinavia. And so during this time, we're just there with Ivar bonding with with Igor, the little kid, and being wary of Oleg and all that stuff, and meeting Oleg's brother, and then Freydis, he's reincarnated wife. So I'm just not the greatest fan of what they did with Ivar's character for the most part in season 6. I understand where they're coming from, like he's lost a lot, he's coming back, and he starts to grow a friendship and maybe a parental relationship with this kid. But how they did his interactions of like, oh, he's so like disturbed by the dead bodies and the brutality of what Oleg does to his own brother. So I'm like, yeah, this is kind of out of place for Ivar's character. But season 6, to me, I have a mixed feeling with Ivar's character. I still enjoyed the actor. I still enjoyed what he's done. I just think it was the right step. It's okay. I think there was easily fixable stuff they could just done with Ivar's character, in my opinion. Make no mistake, this season 6 is Lagatha's goodbye season. This is her season. Like at the beginning of the first 2 episodes, she's a farmer. She decides no longer to rule Kattegat. She doesn't want to be a part of violence anymore. First episode, She finds a place where she wants to farm and to see with her grandchildren. And lo and behold, we finally get. There's another plus side to the season is the fact that Bjorn's children actually gets names, Hallie and Asa. And so there we go. We got actual names for his freaking children. And during this time, Lagan's taking care of them along with Torvi and Ube. And while Uwe and Torvi are now watching over Katka, and while Bjorn's away rescuing King Harold, Lagat is watching over the kids, and so it's very nice to have her like that. But we soon reveal that Lagata's village is now being under attack by the same bandits who Bjorn exiled in the first episode. Bjorn exiled these group of people that are loyal to Ivar and sent them to the forest so they could live the rest of their life in shame and never enter Valhalla. So Lagata has to take her sword from the ground and fight them once again in order to protect her grandchildren. She loses Holly, Holly dies, and she ultimately had to defend the village, and she ultimately kills the leader. And ultimately, she goes to Kattegat, and she dies by the hands of Fitzek. I enjoyed her storyline. She was easily the best character in season 6, and her storyline was the best. And it's all set up the downfall. I think her death is the downfall of Bjorn Ironside because he becomes more vicious with Fitzek. He becomes more insane. Fitzek is now free and cleared of his destiny. And a lot of things just move forward after Lacta's death. So after Lacta dies, a lot of things are starting to progress afterwards. So in some cases, she was the best and worst thing of the season, because in the worst thing, she was holding the season back for other characters to grow. And the best thing about it is that her arc was a great arc. I loved her death scene. I loved her funeral scene. I loved her final battle scene. I loved her reuniting with Ragnar and Valhalla. I absolutely adored this character. I absolutely adored what they did with this character, and this was her best season. This is easily a great way to send off a character. But again, I believe she took a lot what season 6 was doing, and now season 6A was doing, and now all the other side characters are like. Because again, she was the main character of this season. A lot of people say this was Bjorn's season. Bjorn was lost throughout this entire season, and he's more lost now that he lost his mother. So overall, Viking season 6, I enjoy tremendously. It's just there's a lot of things there's a lot of things I'm questioning about. I'm glad that King Harold won his throne. I'm glad for a lot of things. I'm like the new character Eric the Red. I think he's a cool new interesting character. More likely he's gonna get killed off, but then you had certain other plot lines where you're just developing. Bjorn has 2 wives now, and he's setting up his downfall. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the actor who plays Bjorn, Alexander Ludwig, I believe that's his name, he did a great job this season. I think he did a fantastic job with his character. I have no really complaints about it. I think this was the best version of Bjorn after Legacy's death, him being all murderous with rage and just upset about everything. So overall, Viking season 6 to me is the worst season because a lot of episodes were just poorly paced. I'm not saying there were not a lot of action. You don't really need action to make it good. It's just a lot of side characters, like I said, didn't really had anything. Harold was the president for most of the time. Uwe's just the de facto leader of Kattegat with Torvi. He's not doing anything special. Vitzig is a drug addict. Bjorn is reluctant. He doesn't know if he wants to be king. Then he wants to be king. Then he gets a wife. Then he's struggling with his new wife, with his old wife. It's just a lot of baggage that we don't really need, and there's a lot of conflict that doesn't need to be there in season 6. But to me, Viking season 6, I still love. I think it's a pretty dang good season. I would give it a B plus or a B. I'm not 100% sure what to grade, but overall, I enjoyed the season. But again, it was a setup season for a lot of stuff. I cannot wait for season 6B and the final season of Vikings. Because again, Ube's going to North America probably to find Floki with the Native Americans. Bjorn, we don't know his story. We know King Alfred's returning against Ivar, so that's going to be great. So overall, I'm excited for where Vikings is going for the final season. But honestly, I think they kind of rushed certain storylines. But what's your own personal opinion, everybody, about Viking season 6? A at least. So what's your own personal opinion, everybody? Subscribe if you like. Discord not comment, comment down below. Let me know. Respect your opinion. I respect yours. Subscribe. Just click the notification bell. Let me know all. Thank you for one. My name's Lisa. I'm your effort, everybody. Bye.